Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas, David Riggleman. Coming up on this program, we tell you what one organization is doing to help put an end to domestic violence in our community. And we'll make a stop at Area 15, not 51. The councilwoman who represents Ward 1 and is our Mayor Pro Tem is Lois Tarkanian, and she joins me now. Councilwoman, great to see you on the show. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing well. Doing well.
Good to have you back. Been a busy time.
Very busy time.
Holidays are over, but now we're into 2019, and we're off and running. So
and it keeps you real busy, and the budget will be coming, and you know all of that.
Exactly right. Well, you know Ward 1 very well, like the back of your hand. You've represented it for a few years now, going back about 14 years. But if you're not familiar with it, there's the map, everybody. Ward 1 is in that area right there, of course, with the big 1 on it, appropriately enough. It really encompasses everything from just west of the downtown and then stretches out along US 95 out to the northwest. If you live in that area, work in that area, then you are in the city limits of the city of Las Vegas, and you're represented by Mayor Pro Tem.
Where the city started.
Yeah,
Number one, where the city started.
Springs Preserve, right there. That was the reason people came here, was the water, right? And that is in your ward.
It's in my ward. If we ever get thirsty, we go there.
That's right. A lot of change, a lot of additions to Ward 1. I love this next one. Area 15. Have you heard about this, folks? Area 15 is not Area 51. It is a huge project over where the old Scandia used to be, if you've been here long enough, sort of near I-15 and Desert Inn. Just south of Palace Station, basically. Tell us about this project and what the kids are doing here. This is a time capsule they're putting together, right?
Yes, they're putting a time capsule together. They're going to have it buried, and you can see it's sort of modern. And even the capsule itself looks a little more modern than when you and I were involved.
I love this.
Yes. And there it is. That's where it's going to stay until opened by people maybe that won't even remember us, but they'll know the time capsule. This Area 15 is going to be a major entertainment complex. If you ask me what you call it and what you do in it, I could not explain it well.
It's got to have a little bit of everything.
It has a little bit of everything, and it's modern, and it's lots of great technology. And each of the individuals there you see is helping to bury it, and they'll watch it, and I hope they're around when they open it up.
Me too. I hope. I'm sure they will. Those kids are young, and I'm sure they will.
Yeah. They'll have different areas in it, and each area will have its own aspect of technology and fun.
Yeah, right.
Will be something that will be fun.
Very interactive. A lot of digital displays, things like that. It's going to be a must-see when it's built, and really a great draw to the city of Las Vegas.
I think so. And you know, that land has been vacant for quite some time, and so we're very pleased that we have this new project there, and even though I can't understand it well, I knew it was good for us.
You know, it's funny, Councilwoman, it's a sign of the times. When Scandia was there, it was miniature golf and a lot of fun things to do.
And I played miniature golf there.
And it had an arcade, and it was a great place to go, especially if you were a kid. Now it's going to be kind of the same thing. It's just with the whole technological advancement.
It's what kids are interested. It's what kids are interested in now.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
So stay tuned, and we can't wait one of these days to open that time capsule.
Right.
Some of the things the kids put in there were interesting. This is 2018 is when they put it in there, so it'll be interesting 20 or 25 years from now. Councilwoman, or maybe 50 years from now, I love this too. The holidays are over, but there were so many great things that took place. We always love to highlight this. I love this. The RTC Holiday Toy Ride. This is an amazing thing every year. This went from the Westcliff Transit Center, which is up there near Westcliff and Durango, all the way over to basically where the NV Energy headquarters is located. And folks, you've got to see the bike count, 4,616 bikes as of that moment. Look at this. These were all donated.
If you stand there and you look, you see a sea of bikes. It's just like a rolling ocean of bicycles there. And every year they do it. Buchanan is up on top of his ledge. And he talks with the people below, and he lives there day and night.
He does. That's the deal.
That's the deal. And encourages people to come. So people come from all over. I've seen the trucks come and pull out lots of gifts for youngsters, and our city every year provides hot chocolate, coffee, things like that for not only the riders, but people who come and bring the gifts. So, but I will tell you, I have never seen so many bicycles together as I have
All brand
seen
new.
at this
All brand
RTC.
new. Wow.
And it's a great ride they do. And then, of course, they dress up in Santa and different aspects of Christmas. So they have a good time.
That's been a tradition that's taken place in your ward for some time, where you
Yes.
ride from the transit center over
Yes.
to NV Energy where the bikes are dropped off. But
Yeah.
you've been doing that for a number of years.
Yes.
How did that start? I know Chet and his team wanted to do this, but you guys have always jumped in to help, and then the ride from the West Cliff Transit's always been part of this. It's just one of those things that organically has now become a tradition in our
Yeah,
city.
when Bob Beers was on the council, he wrote it all the time,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So it's been a tradition for the city and NV Energy and to join with him in doing this. And the number of gifts and bicycles, I cannot tell you. That's a big parking lot there. And
Filled.
I know at the first 2 or 3 shots, you could see far, and it's an ocean of bicycles,
Well,
all sizes.
Las Vegas is an amazing
A very
community.
generous city.
Where else are
very
you going to have
generous.
somebody and people throughout the community donate upwards of 5,000 bicycles for kids
Yep.
in need? It's an incredible thing.
And
they
I
do
will
it
tell
year
you,
after year after year.
they do that bike ride even when it's freezing
Oh
outside.
yeah, we had not too bad weather this year, but
This
in
year
years
wasn't
past,
bad.
it's
The
been-
year
yeah.
before was freezing.
Yeah, exactly. Wind blowing. I remember.
Yeah.
So, well, congratulations. That's awesome. Didn't stop there. You also did Shop with the Cop, another wonderful
Yes,
tradition in
yes.
the city and in Ward 1. You posted this on Facebook. You said, our local law enforcement helped make the holiday special for some children in our community. How did this work, Councilwoman? The kids got to go in. Well, first Santa comes with an escort there. I love
Yes,
that,
Santa will come with
police
an escort and a police escort, and then he meets the youngsters, and their families are outside with them. The youngsters then are with the families go in, and they have donuts that have been donated, and coffee and orange juice and all that. And while they're sitting there, each of the youngsters goes with one of the policemen, and they get $100 cart. And they can pick out $100 worth of toys.
And the officer helps them shop.
Oh yes, yes. You'll see them together. They walk with each other, and
Now, are we at Walmart?
see, there
here?
they
Is
go.
Is that where we are, Councilwoman?
Yes.
Is that what that is? Yeah.
But we've had other stores too. The stores have been good to us. Walmart has been absolutely excellent. And they get to know the policeman as something other than someone who's just standing sternly there.
Yeah.
They see someone who can joke with them and
it's a
understand
friend,
their
right.
interest in toys and things
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely.
But that's the Shop with a Cop.
You know what I love about it too is I saw the one young lady check the price tag. You're also learning about, okay, how much is $100?
Yes.
How far is that going to go?
Well, what can we get there? One big thing, 4
right.
little things.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly right.
And I will say that the Bob Mayer of the Clark County School Police has been very instrumental in organizing.
they're
that.
always a big part of
They're
that,
always
so
there.
Thank you guys for doing that, guys and ladies, as part of the department. We got our senior Christmas meals. You did that all through your ward. Has some great video here. This is from Gray Plunkett over at the center there. Great food, great entertainment, and this is a highlight for so many
We've done
folks that
this
live there.
almost, we may have done this every year that I've been on the council, and we do it for all of the senior centers' homes in our ward. And this group is always a very happy group, and they always enjoy the food. And then, after they eat, we draw little tags so we can find out who wins a basket. And the basket
That's
contains...
what's happening there, right?
Yes, that's what we're doing. And with Christy. Christy was helping me there. And there I am giving out plates, and Kimberly Reed's giving out food.
Yeah, from your office? Yeah,
Yeah,
Kim's
from
does a
the
great
office.
job at all she does.
And that's right, and we're all serving it, and it's excellent food. And I should say that we do that each of our centers, and we have had.
Great point. I forgot to mention that. This is not just at Gray Plunkett, but all the senior centers and senior housing developments within your
Right,
ward.
Sartini
Yeah.
and Golden Gaming helps us. Mr. Sartini's son is in charge of that now, and they've helped each year. And we have, of course, Palestation. This is Palestation serving at this place, and then another place for years that we've had, downtown helping out too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, obviously made those folks.
Oh, they love the food.
Yeah.
They love the food.
Yeah, and it's a nice community with a great way.
And they love the drawings.
Oh yeah, we all want to, win the.
You know, when you get to be a senior, it's nice if you get, Chrissy Garnis from the city puts together these baskets, and they're baskets that contain maybe making a spaghetti dinner, maybe a cleaning, a lot of cleaning pieces and everything. They love it.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. It's a great tradition. I'm glad that we're still doing it. Hopefully, it's going to continue after you leave the city council because of term limits. Councilwoman, I love this too. You recognized a couple of folks at City Council, Bridge Counseling, for all their contributions to the community here. David Roebuck, who leads that organization. You did this at council. Now, you weren't able to be there that day, so Councilman Steve Soroka filled in for you.
Yes, he did.
This took place back mid-December, but Bridge Counseling does such an important job.
And not many people realize what they do.
Exactly.
You have our big Metro Police Department, and tucked to the left of it, sort of a little to the side behind it, is Bridge Counseling. It doesn't look as if it's very big, but you go into it and you see all these counseling rooms. You see psychologists working with children and families, and these Bridge Counseling serves a need that we don't give enough help to within our state, and that's for behavioral problems, mental needs, things along that line.
That's Dave Roebuck, who is the head of Bridge Counseling right there. I've been a mainstay in our community for many, many a year. And Councilwoman, I think Bridge Counseling, if I'm not mistaken, also received some certification that's very hard to get. And I think they're one of the very few that we have in our community that has that
able
level
to
of,
work with children in this area. And these are not fly-by-night counselors. I mean, these are really well trained.
Right. Well, to get that certification, right? They had
social workers and psychologists that are all certified. And from the outside, it doesn't look like it's very much, and you go in and then you see, and it's busy all the time.
Well, I'm glad that you recognize them for their work.
Well, I'm glad that I was able to before I left.
Very valuable, and congratulations to the work they do, and best of luck to all those at Bridge Counseling. And Councilwoman, you also recognized you had the Citizen of the Month in December. And this is who you call one of those go-to people in the community. Tell us about who the recipient was.
Yeah, the recipient was Kyle Stevens, and Kyle has worked with us since I've been here. And Kyle is what you call one of those go-to people. Whenever you need a place to meet, and nobody, where we're going to go, they can't go there. He finds us a place. If we need extra food or clothing or something to help people, he helps us. If we want to plant a garden for youngsters, he helps us find where to have that. Wow. He just helps us with everything, and he's been a wonderful person to work with. And he does a wonderful job in his community. I wouldn't be surprised eventually that if he didn't, run for some office, because people like him
they get things done.
They get things done.
So
I'm hoping someday he does.
Well, I'm glad that you had an opportunity to recognize him for all he's done. It was a long list of things that he's contributed to the community.
He has, besides doing things for his church and for the Boy Scouts and all those other things. He works for the Brady Industry. He's one of their top people, and so he's done a lot.
He's one of those people that just seems to be tireless. I don't know. I get tired just talking about what he's done, but he somehow still gets it done.
I know, and gets it done well.
Yeah, all right. Well, Councilwoman, we need to take a short break here, but when we come back, we'll tell you about Project Safe and how this unique partnership is helping to put an end to domestic violence in our community. That's next, so please stay with us.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
This girl is very pretty. It's inciting feelings of jealousy in me. We should pick on her.
I'm insecure about some things, so I think we should put some me stuff on here. Maybe even some lies, too.
Yeah.
I just want to be accepted by you both. So I'm going to send this to my friends so they think I'm cool.
Kids bully for all kinds of reasons. None of them are good. Find ways to get involved at flipthescriptnow.org.
Welcome back, everyone. A new partnership between Safe Nest and our Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department is helping put an end to homicides related to domestic violence. With us today to tell us more about this is Liz Ortenberger. She's the CEO for Safe Nest. And Liz, Councilwoman and I are absolutely thrilled to have you on the program today because Councilwoman thinks that what you're doing is unique, out of the box, thinking that's going to make a huge difference in our community. Councilwoman,
Right.
I know you are really, really happy to hear that this has been
I'm very
launched.
pleased. I went to your little opening and listened to everyone very carefully, and I was very, very impressed. And, you know, I've been to a lot of things like that, and this was one of the most impressive as to what they're doing, the statistics involved, and I'm hoping that as more people hear about it, people who want to help will volunteer.
I hope so too. Liz, for people that don't know, tell us what is Project Safe, how does it work, and why is it so unique?
Sure. So Project Safe 417 is essentially volunteer advocates responding after Metro has secured the scene from a domestic violence call. 2 volunteer advocates are deployed, and they go into the home and provide advocacy for the victim. This is in cases where there is an arrest has been made, there's probable cause for an arrest, or there's felony charges for the domestic violence.
Typically, mostly it's going to be the husband or male partner is going to be removed from the situation, been arrested, and then the volunteers then come in to counsel the family basically through the trauma that they've just been through, right?
Right, to some extent. And actually, you know, our statistics around domestic violence as a city and as a county are very mixed, right? It is not always a husband, and it's not always a man, right? We have domestic violence rates of 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
So, and we are also a mandatory arrest state,
Right.
which means if the police roll up
Someone
and
has to
both
go to
parties
jail.
are there,
Mhm.
someone's going.
Yeah.
And sometimes, for reasons that make a lot of sense, the victim will be the one who goes to jail.
Wow.
And that may be to avoid future battery. That may be because that's best for the family. Potentially the batterer is the breadwinner. There are so many complicated intricacies to domestic violence, but what my team provides is whoever is identified by Metro as the victim, they provide victim advocacy. So what are we doing in that space? We're talking about safety planning. So if you're choosing to stay in the home, what's going to happen after the 12-hour hold and the perpetrator comes back? If you want to file an emergency temporary protection order, which gives you 7 days of protection where they can't return to the home or the places that you frequent. We're talking about all of that, but we're also talking about, do you want to stay in this relationship? And if you do, let's talk about where and what is safe for you from a perspective of being in this home with someone who may potentially harm you again. What's safe for the kids, all those
Exactly,
things.
especially the children
And that
too.
was wonderful the way she pointed it out, because we don't often enough stop and think, what if you were the person being battered? Okay, the police come, they take the batterer away, then what do you do? You know, what if you don't have a support system? What do you do? No wonder you end up back with the batterer, because you've had no place to go or run. You have to take care of the children, and you don't know what to do.
Right, exactly.
And this way, you let them know the resources that they have. You let them know support they can get, so they can leave that situation where they get beat up all the time.
Liz, we talked about this before we began recording this segment. Tell everybody the alarming statistics that come with domestic violence once it occurs within the family or in the home.
Right. So there's a couple of really alarming statistics. The biggest one for Nevada is that we are the second most lethal homicide state for women related to domestic violence. So our homicide rate is massively high here. But when you think about the generational cycles of domestic violence, if there's kids that are in homes where domestic violence is happening and there is no intervention, there's a 75%
Really?
recidivism rate. So they're either going to repeat the cycle as a victim or as a batterer. And that was a multi-generational study that was done to sort of play out that statistic. So we are at epidemic proportions here, and the way that you can see that, the tip of that iceberg is the homicides.
And give us some perspective on that, Liz.
Yeah. So when you think about Metro received, just Metro, not North Las Vegas, not Henderson, not the university, received 72,000 calls for domestic violence last year. 72,000.
So that would be the city of Las Vegas and unincorporated Clark County,
Yes.
72,000. Not counting Henderson, not
Right.
counting North Las Vegas.
And we deal with 20,000 phone calls on our hotline, but really only 10% of those come from calls that were generated through Metro. So there's not only the 417 Metro call response rate at 72,000, there is additionally many, many victims who never reach out to Metro or who are also greatly affected by this. So yeah, it is huge here, unfortunately, in Clark County. We carry 80% of the domestic violence cases for the state. And we lost 25 victims last year, 25 homicides.
So Liz, with those kinds of numbers, I can see why you're starting with homicide initially and then trying to work through domestic violence altogether. But those are alarming statistics.
Right.
What do you attribute that to? Is it alcohol related? Is it behavioral? Why are we so
many?
Yeah,
right.
many
And so when you look at cities, so when we think about Las Vegas, when you look at places where domestic violence is high, you see Albuquerque, you see Boise, Idaho, you see Fairbanks, Alaska, you see Las Vegas. We all have similarly high rates of domestic violence. And you start to say, okay, what are the similarities, right? Very isolating places to live, right? How many of us know our neighbors? Are we a community? Many people have moved here. So you've moved away from friends and family, so a support network that you may have had. There's also a perception, and we tease this out as we're doing all of our intake and outtake studies. There's a perception that in moving here, somehow life will be easier. I'll be able to get a casino job, we'll be able to get a house. But the stress of coming to Vegas is real, especially if you have a vice in your life. And so all of that just plays into this really toxic elements, and we have generational domestic violence here, you know.
Wow. Liz, what message do you have for somebody out there who might be watching this who is a victim or maybe a batterer who's seeing this?
Yeah. So we provide counseling for all portions of this epidemic, right? So we have a batterers treatment program, we have victims programs, and we have programs for kids.
Good.
So if you are a batterer, and you know, oftentimes people think it's just the physical abuse. Well, the physical abuse, unfortunately, is the only part that it's illegal. There's a lot of emotional and psychological abuse that happens, sexual abuse that happens within domestic violence that doesn't hit even the radar of what would warrant a 911 call. But if you are someone who feels that you need to control your partner, and you're doing that in a way that is unfair and abusive towards them, you need to come in. You need to call Safe Nest and you need to come in. We provide all of our counseling services without judgment, but what we do is help you dig into why. Because here's the reality is, as we look at adverse childhood experience scores, which is a fantastic indicator of future abuse, but also drug and alcohol, all kinds of things, suicide rates, depression, mental illness, much of that can be attributed back to having a high childhood adverse experience score. When we take that score for our batterers, it's through the roof. So what we're dealing with in our batterer population is victims from another generation, right? From their childhood.
They're just the latest generation.
Right, and so we have to deal with the childhood trauma in order to help batterers take responsibility for their actions. There's no excuse. This behavior is not appropriate. There's no excuse for it, but we need to understand it so then we can figure out how to unpack it. And I'll just share a story real quick. We had a batterer in our program whose girlfriend broke her foot pretty severely, like running through the house. I think she stubbed it or did something to it. He had no emotional range but to laugh. And so when we unpack that in our counseling program, what we find out is that as a little boy, severely beaten, his mother would laugh, right? we're dealing with a victim from another part of their lives.
What you learned.
That's not in every case, but there is a lot of that in our batterer
Wow.
population. So as a society, we've said, you've hurt somebody you love, you're a bad person, we're either going to incarcerate you or we're going to ostracize you. But the reality is no one's dealing with the victimhood. Well, we do that. We do that at Safe Nest.
And one thing I wanted to add, people don't often regard verbal abuse as abuse.
Right.
And you know, you beat people down
Yeah.
psychologically, you just destroy them sometimes with this verbal
Yeah.
abuse.
And I'll tell you, Lois, when we talk and do our victims focus groups, 80%, 90% of our victims share with us they would much rather be physically abused than verbally or psychologically abused, because the systematic ripping down of who you are as a person can be catastrophic for your life. Whereas, you know, victims of domestic violence are such courageous, courageous people. We have women who go, I know if he beats me, it's only going to get to here and I can manage that. Right? The psychological abuse is what tears me down, right? So there's just so many elements to this epidemic.
Liz, we're running short on time. We could talk to you. You're an incredible.
Isn't she magnificent? And their work is
Yeah, it is.
I just want to emphasize again, please, those of you who want to help.
Yeah, this is, I think, what I want to get to, Councilwoman, absolutely, is what do you need, Liz? What does your organization
The biggest thing we need, this PS 417 program is fantastic. The data coming out of it is amazing. We're actually turning around homicide rates in jurisdictions where we're active. We need more volunteers. So anybody that is interested in providing direct advocacy at the scene, it's safe. Metro stays on scene. We train you to do the work, but if you can see in your heart that, yes, I could see being active in that space, please go to safenest.org and fill out a volunteer application.
How many volunteers do you have now, Liz?
We have about 37 in this program that are active. In order to go citywide, we need about 160.
So you need quite a few more.
We need some growth.
Yeah, you need some growth. Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully people watching this will say, hey, that's something I can help with. And I know that was Councilwoman Mayor Pro Tem's motivation to really want to have you on the program today. So
thank you.
Liz, you're doing fantastic work. And like Councilwoman was saying, most of us had no idea what was going on and just how severe this situation was here in Las Vegas. So
yes. We will change that together. And shows like this are
people
a huge
like you,
help.
I'm sure we will. So thank you, Councilwoman.
We'll all work together.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just stay right there for a second. I want to tell everybody out there, we always want to hear from you on this program. So if you have something you'd like to share with Mayor Pro Tem Tarkanian, you can always find her on Facebook. And of course, if you leave a comment, we may use it on our next show, and we'd love to hear from you, of course. You can also contact the Councilwoman just by picking up the phone, 702-229-6405, or send her an email. Her address is ltarkanian@lasvegasnevada.gov. And if you have any questions about Safe Nest and Project Safe, her office will help funnel that and make sure it gets over to Liz.
And they're right in the Meadows. It's easy to get to, easy parking, and very casual to walk into it. You don't feel oppressed or anything. I just encourage everybody. I know people want to help, and this is a good way.
This is
for
great.
sure. It's a great program.
Thank
I
you.
wish we didn't have to do it. quite
Yes.
honestly, but good luck to you, Liz. Councilwoman will bring you back here in 6 weeks with another update from Ward 1. In the meantime, we want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Access City Council. Don't miss our next show beginning on February 7th with Councilman Bob Coffin. You can catch us all of our KCLV programs now on Apple TV, Roku, Hulu, Amazon Fire. We're out on all of them. And don't forget, you can also watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. We'll see you next time around, everyone. Thanks so much for watching.